Like, it came to a height once. It was a podcast we did with Angela Rye. And I remember it because we was doing it. I'm not even gonna say where we was doing it because that might be liable too. But we were doing it somewhere, and that's when he came out and said he had an experience with a man and yada yada yada. But what you didn't hear in that podcast that we cut out was he just starting attacking Andrew, like he just physically attacked you. I was like, huh? Like just for no reason, just like started throwing punches. I'm like, all right, that's some brotherly stuff. You break that up, keep it moving. I do feel like he was getting a little better.
Yeah, so he did that, and he just kind of lashed out. But what was happening around that time is he was also lashing out violently to other people.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So Greg, throughout his whole life, I know it's shocking, he's 6'6", but he was kind of like bullied. You know what I mean? And like he never really kind of stood up for himself physically, and he was a little maybe insecure to do that. And all of a sudden, he he got big, he became 6'6", and he started boxing, and he made a conscious effort to defend himself. And when you couple that with hearing things, it's bad. Defending yourself is great. I tell everybody, please defend yourself. I think it's awesome if you know how to do that and you stand up for yourself. But if you're hearing people say things that they're not saying and you're acting violently, that's a recipe for disaster. So he started, beating up a cousin of ours. He was getting a couple fights in the street. Randomly, he thought a dude on the street said something to him, and he just started beating him up in front of his girl.
Really?
So these things started happening, and he hit me in the podcast, and then later at my apartment, we were just hanging out, and all of a sudden, he went downstairs. He's like, I gotta go. And I think that was his ability to try to control it. And then he came back upstairs, he started swinging.
See, I thought that because he kind of explained during that podcast that he was having he didn't know his sexual identity, so I thought that he was lashing out because when people would call him gay or try to clown him for being bisexual, I thought he was fighting for that.
Right. I think a lot of times it's like a justification. You know what I mean? Like you got these things in your head. Like he opened up to me about it when we actually were coming back from London. That was the first time he really opened up. We're on a cab back from London from the airport, and he was like, "Man, I don't tell people about it. My therapist, who I have other issues with, but he's like, he told me not to tell people really bad, but I just hear shit. Like I'm like, what are you hearing right now? And he would just start telling me the things that he was hearing, and it was cool to have that combo. But imagine suppressing that. Imagine suppressing, like when he's in the room with us and he kind of laughs by himself, it's because he hears something that's funny to him. Yeah. And he knows on some level he's not hearing it, but he can't control. So what he does is it's so hard to be in social situations because he's constantly hearing things that he knows may or may not be real. So he isolates himself. Yeah. Now he stops hanging out with anybody at all. And when you isolate yourself and you're all alone, that shit starts to bubble.
You're listening to those voices in your head, which you shouldn't be.
Boom.
So if you know, Greg is our camera guy. So Greg is always up here, and he's always recording. He's always filming. And on Tuesday, which was a Mental Health Awareness Day. Yeah. Well, prior to that, a couple of weeks, Greg's been in here, and he's had these little moments where he'd excuse himself, like you just said. He's like, I gotta go.
He quit one. Remember, he quit one episode?
He's like, I can't do this no more. I'm ruining the podcast. Like, he just be in the background, like, I gotta go. I'm ruining the podcast. And then, he apologized to us later, sent out emails and stuff. But on Tuesday, which was Mental Health Awareness Day, we were just in here, and we had Erica America. She was a guest on the podcast, and Wax was in here, and we were trying to have a conversation with Wax about being in love, but not embracing the fact that he's in love with a young lady. And we started talking about the Harvey Weinstein situation, and Greg comes over to me, and he leans over, and I look at him, and he goes, "This is God," and he swung a punch. Yeah, you didn't connect because you
can't connect.
Hey,
God
I'm not gonna say I'm young Mayweather. You know what I'm saying?
God is looking out for you because when he punched me later, he connected.
First of all, let's be clear. Let me tell you something. As a black man who suffers from anxiety himself, all right, okay, and as a black man who tells y'all all the time, we are on a mission to avoid crazy every day of our life. I'm always looking out for crazy.
Sure.
You never know when crazy is coming.
Sure.
I'm gonna tell you something. If a 6'5" white man leans over to you, 6'6", leans over to you and says, "This is God," something's not right. If your spidey senses don't kick in right then and there, something's wrong. So he swung a punch. He misses. Wax swung a punch at him. Didn't connect. Andrew, being the brother that he is, jumps on top of Greg, as he should have, and immediately was like, stop, please. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I was aware of that too. You know what I'm saying? Like I was aware. Like I'm like,
you were incredibly understanding and calm about it.
I get it.
It was Wax.
You know, I get it.
He
I get it. The punch didn't connect. So you know, it was a part of me with my ego. I had to suppress my ego. Because once everything got under control and we was just walking him out, I had a clear shot to his jaw. But I'm like, why?
Yeah. And I saw you reaching into your pocket for the knuckles. I saw you one hand in the pocket.
I said out loud because I really had to say it to myself. Like, if that wasn't your brother, we would hurt him.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So cool, all good. And then it was the weirdest feeling for me, man, because it went from I was just concerned.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a level of compassion. Like,
you know where it's coming from.
I know him. I know Greg. I've been knowing Greg for over 3-4 years now. Like I said, we used to share literature. We talk. Like, I know there's an issue, there's a problem. And then, like, you know, he started wilding out in the building a little bit.
No, we walked to the elevator, and I walked him to the elevator.
And they said he started chasing you.
Well, no, I'm standing at the elevator to him, and I go, Greg, I love you, man. We're going to get you some help. Mm-hmm. And he looks at me. And he postures towards me, and I go, oh, fuck. And it was like the moment before the avalanche, you know, when like a little, you know, like that little stone falls. And you're like, uh-oh. And this white 6'6" avalanche just comes at me. Bro, it comes at me. He starts swinging. I'm like, oh, fuck. I start backing up. He clips me in my head, right? I think I might have grabbed him or something. All I know is I see this giant black hand come out of the side of my vision, and it wraps around Greg's throat, and it is Wax. And I don't know where he came from. I don't know what it is, but he grabs Greg, he pins him down. Because
Wax came in here, and he was like, yo, you good?
Yeah.
And I said, why are you in here? Get him out of the building.
Thank God.
Like, I don't know what's going on with Greg. It's all these, it's women here. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
So
So Wax grabbed him and he put him down, and then
took him in the elevator.
We all went to the elevator. Then we went downstairs, and he started to kind of like act up a little bit outside. And Wax,
no, they said that he was saying, this is what Wax was telling me. I was up here. Wax was saying that Greg was telling him, I'm going to attack this woman.
Huh?
Yeah, he said that. Greg said, I'm going to hit this girl. And Wax was telling him, if you act up while you with me, I'm going to put you down. So as they were walking to where they were walking,
I was with them. I don't remember him saying anything about a girl. And I'm not saying he didn't. I just don't personally remember him, saying that.
That's what
I just don't recall, but it was a tense moment. But all I know is we were outside, and he started to kind of act up a little bit, and then.
Well, he told Wax. He said, "Wax, I'm thinking about fighting you."
Yeah, and then
so Wax calmly reached in his back pocket, put on his gloves.
Well, that was before. That's after.
He put his gloves on before.
So that was after. So before, we're just right outside of where we're at, and Wax put him down, and it was the first time I had seen. You ever see like sharks in an aquarium?
Yeah.
And they seem relaxed.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of Wax.
You never see Wax aggressive.
I saw this motherfucker on the Discovery Channel. Oh my God. You ever see those scenes where the great white shark or the killer whale jumps out the water to get the seal? It was unbelievable to see him restrained. He lifted my brother clear off the ground. It was like watching a transformer.
Well, the thing with Wax has gone through a lot. Like, me and Wax have been friends for 15, 16 years now. And, Wax has gone to anger management. You know what I'm saying? Like, Wax has been in front of that judge facing 10, 15 years for beating the shit out of people. So it's like he's gone through a lot of things that have made him much more calm. Like, even when he initially, when Greg initially swung at me and missed, that's why I'm always in such control.
Yeah.
Because that's an easy situation. If I turn up, then Wax turns up. We're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? We know
you guys were incredibly.
We know Greg's situation. Yeah. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Let's get this brother some help.
Wax was smart enough to know that in that moment, Greg only understood fear. Like, he was very similar to, in those moments, like a mentally ill person is similar to an animal in that they don't understand reason.
Yeah.
But Wax was he's like, listen, I'm different. He kept saying, he goes, listen, I'm different, and I'm different. And then Greg understood that. He didn't understand it with me, but he was like, okay.
Well, he didn't understand it yet, from what Wax told me.
He understood for a little, and then we took him to another spot.
Yeah, and
Greg started acting up again.
Greg, this is how you know Greg's really mentally ill. Greg looks at Wax and tells Wax, I think I can take you.
Son.
And I'm thinking about fighting you. So Wax goes, okay. And Wax says, and I'm going to let you hit me. So Wax walks off a little bit. From what I was told, Greg threw a punch.
Oh, I was there. He threw the punch.
He hit Wax in the mouth.
Yeah.
And that was probably the worst decision, or the best decision Greg has made in a long time. Because it seemed like Greg came back to reality after he got that ass whipped.
Oh, he came back to reality very quickly. So, you know what it was? It was like, I used to think, you know when Terry Crews said that he was sexually harassed or sexually assaulted?
He got his crotch grabbed by a Hollywood executive.
Yeah, so like, I used to think that guy who grabbed Terry Crews' crotch was the most brave person until I saw Greg attack Wax. I couldn't fathom that he would do this. And Wax, he subdued him. And he controlled the environment.
If you call it two-piece subduing, he two-pieced him. And then when he hit the ground,
But that's the only thing that he's understanding in that moment. That's the thing.
And I'm going to tell you why Wax, because I know Wax has changed a lot. Like, Wax was very measured. Wax hit him 3 to 4 times.
Yeah. To let him know, hey, you got to stop.
Yes.
You have to stop.
I've seen Wax go Hulk, berserk smash, Hulk smash.
If Wax isn't there, I'm going to be honest with you, Greg would be in jail probably right now.
Or dead.
I mean, there could be, we don't know what's I am so eternally grateful, and I got fucking emotional yesterday just thinking about, I don't even want to talk, but I'm just grateful for you, and I'm grateful for Wax for understanding the environment and like being very helpful and getting Greg help. And also, Chris, there's something important that I got to give you credit for, because that didn't even make sense to me at the moment, but when we called the police and the ambulance, Chris said, hey, I want you to talk to the police and explain the situation. Because right now, all they're seeing
is a black guy beating up a white dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it in the moment, but I went, and to the police's credit, they were they listened, they were really compliant.
That was my best interaction with NYPD ever.
Dude, they were so helpful, man. They were so helpful, and they were so understanding, and they were like, hey, man, we're going to have to restrain him. I just want to let you know. Like, they were just, man, it was just, everybody was super, I was just so grateful, man.
I learned a lot from that situation. I mean, of course, I always knew mental illness was real, but it was very terrifying for me because I thought about the Las Vegas shooting and how this guy had no criminal record. You know, he'd never been in no trouble. But then his girlfriend said that he would be laying in the bed just screaming and saying he's hearing voices. And then one day this guy snaps. Now, thank God Greg didn't have a gun. Thank God Greg didn't have a knife, because he literally leaned over to me and said, "This is God,"
son. And
just threw a punch. I'm cool. I'm like, when you think about all the other ways that could have went, I'm happy it went down the way that it went down. But I never felt in my life, I never felt the feeling of forgiveness ever. You know how I always say I feel like forgiveness is overrated? Yeah. I never, like when somebody attempts to do something wrong to me or does something wrong to me, I'm like, fuck them.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that with Greg. Like I genuinely felt bad. Yeah. Like I felt a compassion, so to speak. I was like, yo, it's fucked up that he has gotten to this point. It wasn't even about me.
Yeah.
It just was messed up that he got to this point. Like I watched his mind or whatever just deteriorate. And that is a very, very sad feeling.
Yeah, it's scary, man. When you lose control of your brain, the brain is a powerful tool. But it is over. It's
over.
And the issue with Greg is he didn't want to take any medication.
No, you got to take your medication.
And you need to take medication. But that's the thing that happens with a lot of people that are mentally ill is like the medication that keeps them right sometimes has other effects that they don't like. They can't get their dick hard. They can't do, they can't, I don't know, dry mouth, that's a bad example, but so once they start feeling good, they go, oh, I'm good. I don't need meds. I'm cool, man. And I'm not going to lie, for 1 week after Greg got out of the mental hospital the first time he went there, I had my brother back, yo. And like every day I'd wake up and I'd call him and we'd hang out and like we'd have funny combos again. Like, and it was, man, it felt like vacation, bro. It was just the coolest thing in the world. And then I slowly noticed it going, and there's nothing you could, if he's not willing to take the drugs, trust me, all I do is talk to hospitals, all I do is talk to his therapist, all I do is talk to people. And if they're not willing to take the drug, it puts me in this really hard situation, which is you can't be out on the street. I have a moral and ethical responsibility, knowing my brother's situation, to people in New York City and people around.
I agree.
So it's like, if I know that this person is capable of acting violently without rationale behind it, I got to make sure that other people are protected I mean, what do? I wait until he actually really hurts somebody?
And that's what's bothering me. You're telling me that these hospitals are telling you that he's
the
fine.
hospital wanted to let him go yesterday.
Yeah, he's being compliant and like no. Like I don't listen. I don't know how mental illness works, but clearly you're not crazy 24/7, or you go in and out of it.
Yeah.
The problem is when you come out of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we got to be focused on. Get that man the help he needs. If we're telling you that this guy has a history of violence, like snapping, we don't know why he's snapping, like bugging out.
Yeah.
You got to keep him.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And a huge shout out to Leah.
From Married to the Mob?
Yeah, from Married to the Mob. Thank you so much. I really am so indebted to you for helping out. She was instrumental in like just talking to me about it and talking to some hospitals and trying to get Greg the right care. So I love you and thank you so much for helping out.
I'm praying for Greg. Like I said, it was a real lesson for me because I've never felt those feelings. I'm being totally honest.
I saw it in your face, yo.
I've never felt that. I've never felt like I was just conflicted. Like I felt compassion. I felt bad for him. Yeah. And I really just had to like just check myself, like check my ego. Like, all right, he swung a punch at me. So what? This brother needs help. You know what I'm saying? Like he got a problem.
You feel all those things, and you also feel. I don't know if you felt it, but I feel fear. What's
the first thing I said when Wack told me he beat him up? I'm like, oh man, you ain't had to do that. You just wanted to fight. But then when y'all explained the situation, y'all like,
he needed it. He needed it.
I walked out.
It was the only thing he could understand in the moment. And Wax was being so fucking pissed. Let me tell you, this is my brother who I love more than anything in the world. You know I do anything for him. If he didn't do it, Greg could be dead or in jail, son.
Listen, I know Wax is being patient. People have tried me, and there's nothing to talk about.
I can't.
We leave them where they stand.
Bro. I cannot tell you my gratitude for Wax, man. I cannot explain it, bro.
I came home that night and I told my wife, I was like, thank fucking God for Wax. Right. Like it was amazing. Because I'll say straight up right now, I had nothing for Greg. Like if it had just been me trying to get him out of the building, it wouldn't have happened.
Son, it's a different
He handled it. He really
I'm not gonna lie, that fear stays with you, man.
Yeah.
Like last night, I just heard a thump on my door. I didn't know where I just heard a thump. It wasn't a knock. It was just something banged against my door. Son, I didn't go outside. I looked through the peephole. I'm like, did Greg get out? Is he here trying to finish? Like, when you're dealing with crazy, you're dealing with someone who's irrational. Like, I've been around dangerous people throughout my life in different instances, like people who may have taken, extreme measures about things. But I always knew, hey, as long as you treat that person with respect, he has no reason to, inflict violence on you. Yeah. When you're dealing with a crazy person, saying, I love you, could make them want to.
Yeah, it wasn't the physical aspect of it that shook me up. It was the spirit. Yeah. It was just a negative, evil spirit. Like I literally, I'm sitting like how I'm sitting now, and he leans over, so I look, and I looked right in his eyes.
Yeah. You had a smile on your face too, because it's like, oh, it's Greg.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's something wasn't right in his eyes, and he said, "This is God."
I talked to him about it.
I don't know what. I'm like, what? Like, think about that. This is God. And, I was talking to some other people who do, like, psychotherapy and stuff, and they say whenever they indulge in such a space to where they think people are after them, like they say it's usually God or the FBI.
Right.
They think the FBI is after them. They think the FBI is coming to get them, or they think God is telling them to do things. And, like, it was just spooky. Like, it was just eerie. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I noticed with this situation, like he's using the information he has in his life to justify his actions. Right? Like Greg is trying incredibly hard to be normal. He's going to NA. He's going to AA meetings. He's reading all different religious books. He's doing everything in his power to be like us. He wants to be like us. Right? Like that's the saddest thing about this whole shit. He started eating organic. Changed because he Googled maybe the food could be fucking me up. In his same time, he wants to be like you and me. His brain won't allow it, and he's not willing to take those drugs. And in those situations, it's like he's been reading the Bible, he's been reading other religious books, so now all of a sudden when he has one of those thoughts, he goes, oh, maybe it's the Bible. Before it was the Bible, it was, well, my therapist says that you have to stand up for yourself, so I guess punching someone is okay. He's just justifying his actions with these different...
Yeah, because they said Wax said he was crying outside, saying, oh, tell Charlamagne I'm sorry, but then he goes, I had to do that to Charlamagne before somebody else does it.
Yeah.
Greg, stop it. That's another reason I know you're mentally ill. You know how many people have tried to put hands on me to stop me? I'm right. That clearly doesn't do it, but, I mean, the moral of the story is, man, I'm praying for Greg. I genuinely prayed for him on Tuesday, like genuinely, like on my knees, like I hope he gets the help he deserves. I don't know if people come back from this kind of stuff.